event.
Hi there. Okay, welcome to our event today here at Vesta Divorce Irvine. My name is Glenn Crawford. I'm going to give a brief introduction, and myself and my colleagues will give a brief presentation. On today's subject is, I'm grateful, I'm thankful for my divorce team. I'm a CDFA, a Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. I'm in the financial wellness business. I'm a wealth asset manager and financial advisor, but it's not the same thing when you're talking about marital asset division. And so myself and my colleagues all have skill sets that people generally need when they go through divorce, and they're all in one place. So we are the Irvine hub of Vesta Divorce. Vesta started about 13 years ago in Boston, and we were created because we believe that the divorce market, it's largely broken. It's combative, it's confusing, and it's costly, and we don't think it needs to be that way. So our mission is to educate, connect, and empower people to help them navigate through this course, this bumpy road to clear skies, if you would. And we hit the beachhead in Southern California about 4 years ago. We're the Irvine hub, and we have hubs now all over the country, so we know we're doing something right. As I said, we believe people going through divorce are being largely underserved. I had that specific experience myself after getting divorced after 24 years of marriage. I already knew about the world of financial instruments, but I didn't know about marital asset division. And I had all the skill sets that we have in our hub, but they all work separately. They all work in silos. I'm a big team guy. I played sports in college. I coached youth sports for many years. I still coach people in life and in business. I believe you're much stronger with a team than an individual. So Vesta created their own style, their own collaborative style. I call it Vesta style. And what it is that they've put together as core members of these professional hubs, attorneys, mediators, licensed marriage and family therapists or divorce coaches, realtors, mortgage lenders, and financial specialists like myself in one place where people can go to and get the information they need about all the different components of going through a divorce. I believe there's four major components. There's financial, legal, emotional, and in California, especially real estate. I don't think that any of those components can be ignored. They all deserve attention. So what we've done is we come together for the purpose of this cause to leverage our skill sets. Not only do we leverage our skill sets, we leverage our experience with one another, our confidence in one another, and our affinity in one another. And what that means to you is that you save money. It's less costly. You're more informed. You understand what your life is going to look like after divorce. And I'm okay with any decision that you make as you go through this process, as long as you make it as an informed decision. All of us have been through stringent background application and interview processes. We all have our own practices. But as I said, we come together for the purpose of this. Now, in the Vesta world, we have not only those core skill sets, we have forensic accountants and business valuation people and CPAs and trust attorneys and parenting coaches and career coaches, really anything you need in our universe. We put on these no-cost educational events. You're invited to come as many times as you'd like. And by the way, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back for even being here. Having walked down that road myself, I know how taxing it can be. It can be physically, emotionally, and mentally taxing. By the fact that you're here says that you're willing to take control and move towards the next chapter in your life. And trust me, this is a temporary circumstance, these clouds that you are encountering right now, especially this time of year. But there's clear skies on the other side. I promise you that. Just like spring has followed winter for the last 10,000 years, so too shall this time pass in your life. So today, we're going to, before we get started with our presentation, I do want to urge you You'll receive information with all of our contact information and ability to schedule an individual consultation with us. We can be more open in our opinions in that forum rather than a general education forum like this. And many of us will give you a consultation at no charge. So reach out and have that conversation and touch on all the bases. You can work with any one of us, any combination of us, or all of us. If you have people outside our ranks, we'll work with them too. So we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. I want to thank my colleagues for being here today. And here you are, grateful for my team. Let me start my slideshow from the beginning. Forgive me. Slideshow from the beginning. There you go. All right, Patricia.
All right. So while you're doing that, I'm going to go over a quick little legal disclaimer. So it's important to understand our attorneys are licensed only in the state of California. The purpose of this program is to provide you with helpful legal information. It's difficult, if not ill-advised, for any of our legal professionals to provide detailed, specific legal advice. The reasons are that each case is unique and very fact-specific, and there are nuances and details that we just don't have the time today or privacy to flesh out. Importantly, all of our legal professionals adhere to the highest ethical and professional standards. They must be cautious about issues of potential conflicts of interest and fulfillment of professional ethical responsibilities in a limited format like this event. With that being said, we will do our best to give you important information today that will help clear up some of the confusion and uncertainty about divorce. However, some questions may be better suited to a private consultation with one of our legal professionals. We thank you for your understanding and hope you will not be offended if your specific questions cannot be answered or it's suggested that you schedule a private consultation. Next slide. On a final note, please understand that the legal information given today is to be considered educational, informational, and general in nature. The discussion and our question and answer exchanges after this event shall not create an attorney-client relationship and do not carry the protections of confidentiality that would apply to an attorney-client relationship. And again, our attorneys are only licensed in California. All right, so a little bit about me. I think I'm the one that goes and starts. Yes, so my name is Patricia Van Haren. I am a collaborative attorney and mediator. What that means is I am a family law attorney. However, none of my cases are in court. We do have an amazing attorney on our team, Elizabeth Johnson, and she is a family law litigation attorney, which means her cases do go to court. So it's important to understand not all attorneys are the same. Not all family law attorneys are the same. So you're going to end up with some attorneys and their entire practice is that litigation model. And they're a problem creation model, like I like to say, rather than a solution-based problem-solving model. I see myself as working to solve issues and solve problems in various family law cases. And I'm really interested in keeping a family out of court. Our litigation attorney in the Irvine Vesta Hub also has a problem-solving approach to litigation cases. She really works to flesh out what issues can be resolved outside of court and what issues need to go to court. Having the right professional are going to save you money. You don't want to have a litigation attorney trying to work on your mediation or your collaborative case. They might not have the right mindset. You want to make sure that you have an attorney that really cares about your family, really cares about you, and is not just working to churn the fees. I do have a background in litigation. So when I was litigating, I would often see attorneys on the other side, and They would create problems where they didn't need to be created, or they would spend a lot of time and energy trying to negotiate personal property, which, the courts value personal property at garage sale value. So you're using more money in attorney fees and negotiating out this personal property than it's actually worth on a page. And it's important to understand you don't actually need to go to court to have the best outcome. If you choose a model such as mediation or the collaborative divorce process, you're able to craft a really great outcome. You may end up with a way better parenting plan than any judge is going to give you. The reason is when both spouses have a buy-in to that parenting plan, they're more likely to follow it. Also, using a problem-solving approach to your case is going to help you to be able to improve your communication with your other co-parent. You learn that you don't need to fight over every single thing. A lot of times when I have spouses first come to me in a mediation case, we find out that they actually already agree on a lot of things, but that lack of communication caused them to not be able to see that they were in agreement. Also, a lot of times when people are in that litigation model, they're just trained to continue to fight and escalate. You also want to make sure you're using a family law attorney in your family law case. You don't want to go to somebody that practices everything, a generalist. Just like I would not want to go to, a knee surgeon for a heart attack. And Glenn will get into that a little bit more later. Making sure that your attorney knows what they're doing, knows what the laws in the state of California are. Again, I had said twice in that disclaimer, I'm only licensed to practice in the state of California. That's because family law is a state specific type of law. And so you want to make sure that you have an attorney that is familiar with family law. Family law courts are a court of equity. They are not a court of justice. So no judge in a family law court is going to say, oh, you're right, you win. That's not what this type of case is about. So, and make sure that you have an attorney that has a holistic approach, that understands the importance of using the right professionals, that has a team that can work with them. Most people understand that they need somebody to help them in the legal aspect of divorce. But divorce is a real emotional process. And we have a great therapist here that's part of our hub that presents with us a lot of times. And I'm going to turn it over to Glenn Crawford, who you heard from already, but he's part of our amazing financial team here. So if you want to go ahead and take it away, Glenn.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And we're going to give you a lot of information, even in shortened time. And as I said, if you're taxed, that's okay. If you only get 10% of it, you're invited to come by and come back as many times as you'd like. So I am a CDFA, Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. I'm in this hub along with my business colleague, Greg Schmidt. We both work at the same firm. We're both financial advisors, but we have a specialized. Many people think that it's simple. It's not simple. And it's really a defining moment in your life because it kind of sets the stage for your life financially after that. Attorneys can advise you on what you're legally entitled to. But what they can advise you on, number one, they're not trained to value all assets properly. Some assets are worth different than the number that's on a sheet of paper. For instance, a pension needs to be valued. It's worth a different number than a lump sum at some point in the future. I'm surprised how many people do have pensions. They're not as common as they once were, but there's still a lot of people who have them. A lawyer also doesn't take into consideration the taxes, the risks, liquidity, and the ability to generate income. They don't answer the question, how do I make sense of it? What's the impact on my life? And that is huge. I believe it's very important to know before you come to any agreement, what the impact is going to be on you financially, and not to make an emotional decision just to get away, which some people do. We're going to collect all the documents. We're going to value everything properly. We're going to line it up in a way that's easily understood. That's another thing that lawyers don't do. They speak in their legalese. They have a lot of jargon and syntax and special paragraphing, and it's tough to understand, to extrapolate sometimes what you're agreeing to. We line everything up A to Z. We explain all the assets very easily. And then it's about moving assets from one side of the ledger to the other so you can negotiate an equitable resolution to the marital corporation of which you're a partner in. You're a partner in that firm and entitled to 50% of what was acquired during the course of the time you're in marriage. You're also responsible for 50% of what incurred during that time. So a balance sheet, just as if you owned a business and you'd want to know all the variables of that business before you extracted yourself, it's the same thing here. So we're going to come up with different division scenarios, and along with each scenario, we're going to produce an income analysis that says if you divide the assets along scenario A, B, or C, this is what your life will look like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. You save money because you're not paying an attorney to do things that they weren't trained to do. They use our work. We share all our work with them, and all of it's backed by data. Everything that Greg and I do and our firm does is backed by data. We can substantiate it. So you're not paying them to do something they weren't trained to do. They're better prepared than the other side. You have more understanding on how to provide directives to them, and you understand the impact of these decisions on your life. And that's huge. So we'll also help, besides the division scenarios, we can help calculate things like spouse support and child support and put together the financial disclosures for you. So again, you're not paying your attorney necessarily to do that at a higher rate than, I'm 99% sure than our firm works at. So that's what a CDFA does. I'm going to go on to the next slide here, and we're going to have my partner, Greg Schmidt, come on.
Hello, everyone. Happy Veterans Day. My name is Greg Schmidt. As Glenn mentioned, I'm a certified divorce financial analyst, as well as just a financial advisor in general. And being a financial advisor doesn't necessarily give you the skills and knowledge necessary to help somebody through the divorce process. And so that certified divorce financial analyst component of things is really important to take a look at, because there are certain nuances to the process that not every financial advisor understands, and that can lead them to advise you maybe in a way that you might fall into a pitfall. Anyway, one of the things that we help people with is dividing up their retirement assets. And so not every retirement account is created equal. And the ones that are a little bit trickier to divide tend to be employer-sponsored plans. And on our slide here, we have we're talking about this QDRO, this Qualified Domestic Relations Order. This is a document used to divide employer-sponsored retirement plans. Now, these plans are typically governed by ERISA regulations. And so these plan administrators, they're held to a very, very, very high standard of fiduciary responsibility. And so they can't just divide your account and award it to somebody if you ask them to do that. You actually have to draw up a legal document that allows them to do that. Now, there are a couple of things that you really want to understand about these. They can be very useful. Typically speaking, these retirement accounts like a 401k or a TSP, that's all tax deferred. But if you pull money out of those accounts before you're 59 and a half, then not only do you have to pay full taxes on them, but you also have a 10% penalty for pulling it out before you're, within reach of retirement. So now, one of the inherent things that happens in a divorce is you're taking the resources that were supporting a single household, and now you're going to support two households, right? So there's a scarcity issue there. And so a QDRO can actually allow you to pull out a one-time lump sum from one of these retirement accounts, which tend to be some of your bigger accounts, and avoid that 10% penalty if you're younger than 59 and a half. So you're still going to have to pay normal taxes, but at least you don't have to pay that penalty. It allows you to access your money and make ends meet while you're trying to figure out what your life is going to look like. That can be a really, really, really powerful tool. Similarly, another reason why you might want a QDRO is 401ks and these ERISA governed plans. They tend to have a very limited investment offering, and you can basically get the money out of that plan using a QDRO, right? So if you had 100 grand in a 401k, you could use a QDRO to take that money out and put it into an IRA, avoiding any tax liability. But then in an IRA, you've got way more flexibility in terms of how to invest your money. And that may be something that is really helpful for you. You could improve your efficiency and all these different things. So, depending on your situation, that might make sense. QDROs do cost some money. So, there is a cost benefit analysis there. Another thing that is really helpful when trying to come to a settlement agreement is understanding your options for how to structure your support. Now you got child support, you got spousal support. Child support is pretty mechanical. There's a formula that the court uses, and that they don't like you to mess with that because they don't want the kids to suffer because you're trying to be too creative with things. But you can structure spousal support pretty creatively. You can either, front load spousal support, make it higher for a shorter period of time. You can do what's called a buyout of spousal support. So, that kind of blends asset division with your support conversation, where one person will actually get more on the asset division side and waive their right to spousal support. And so depending on your situation, how you might, and this actually is a great reason to have a team, is because some of these options may make more or less sense based on your refinancing situation for the home. If somebody's trying to qualify for a mortgage for the home, some of these support options may be really important to help you qualify. And, Tommy's going to talk a little bit more about how mortgages play a role in the divorce process, but it is really important to have, a team so that nothing falls through the cracks and you can take advantage of all the options that you've got. So that's all I've got for you today. And I think Tommy's next, right? Yeah, Tommy's next. Perfect.
All right. Well, thanks, Greg. So, it's always challenging, going through a life-changing event, but the one thing that we can do to help minimize some of your, stress going through it is by providing you with useful information. I think if you do own a home, one of the first calls that you should make is to a mortgage professional. And, not all professional mortgage personnel are created equally. And so depending upon if you walk into your bank, you're going to get a lot different answers than if you talk to myself, who I'm an independent mortgage broker. And so we have a lot more programs that we can, provide to you. And so, you know, depending on what your situation is, most people have a extremely low interest rate right now. And so, my number one goal is to see what we can do to keep that mortgage in place and see what we can do to be creative to try and minimize that impact of, giving up a 2% interest rate to take a 7% interest rate. Like, obviously, nobody wants to do that. So let's see what we can do to keep that in place. So that's the number one conversation I want to have. And then, some of the biggest pitfalls that we see is that your income is going to change. A lot of times it's divided in half, and sometimes you'll see that you might not qualify for the same that you did prior to going through divorce, because you might have child support, alimony, and so those payments are going to count against you and make it harder for you to qualify. And so sometimes it's good to do this ahead of time before you file for a divorce, and that way you have more options to try and navigate through this. And so again, that's my advice would be to try and have these conversations, so you come from have them early, so you come from a knowledge-based decision making, so you can be informed and educated and know exactly what your options are. And so we want to be here for you as a resource. A couple of things that you might be able to do is maybe instead of taking a monthly distribution or support, you take a lump sum distribution and put that into a trust, and then we can create trust income for you, and now you can qualify for a mortgage. This can help you to fast forward things, because a lot of times you need to receive at least 6 months of support before we can use that on the loan side. And so we want to be here to make sure that you don't run into some of the pitfalls that others have before you, because you're not always thinking about hey, well, I qualified for a mortgage before, like of course I can qualify for a mortgage, but you might not qualify at 7.5% plus adding in $5,000 a month in support, and these things will take a toll on a lot of families. And so we want to make sure that we are here to answer all of your questions, and I will offer up free consultation. I'm not licensed in just California. We've got 25 different states that we can help you in across the nation. And so if you're looking at moving out of the state, or doing something where you want to finally go out and buy that vacation home in the mountains that you've always wanted, that your spouse didn't want you to go buy, so we can have those conversations too. So next step is kind of what do you do with the home? And so I'm going to let Dar kind of talk about his abilities to look at the home as your client, and be able to help you navigate that, and we'll go from there. So take it away, Dar.
Thank you. Hi, I would like to welcome everybody. One of the points that all of us are emphasizing to you is take advantage of the knowledge we have. I remember when I was going through my divorce, I had no idea what was ahead of me, and I did not have the resources that Vesta has. But there are matters that are related to real estate. There are matters that relate to the mortgages. There are matters that relate to the financial planning and so forth. And of course, there is the legal assistance you need. And the more proactive you are in what you do, and how you're going to proceed with it, the better off you are in planning your future. Can we go to the next slide, please? One thing that I would like to emphasize for you is there are a number of studies that have been done, and they basically emphasize the fact that when people retire, upon retirement, the biggest assets people have is the real estate, is the home they live in. And we want to make sure that post-divorce, you are still eligible for home ownership. Even if you're buying the property, if you're buying half the property from your spouse, or if you're buying a new property, we want to make sure that you know what's going on, and we do the best planning for you. We want to make sure that you're financially eligible, your credit score is still good in order to buy real estate. And we have advice for you. If one of the things that you want to walk away from here knowing is, please, we know how difficult it is that you're going through this process, but make sure you pay your bills on time. Make sure you pay your credit card bills and your mortgage bills on time. That is incredibly important. The other issue about being proactive is, let's say you have a home with your spouse. You want to know what the home is worth. You want to know what the value is. You want to know how long it takes to sell the property. You want to know if there are a few cosmetic things we can do to your property to make the value higher for you, so you get a higher return on that asset. Would help you in the future. And what we do, we come and visit you. There is no cost to you. We will run an analysis for you. It's called comparative market analysis. We look at how much your home is worth in the neighborhood it's in the condition it's in, and we can give you some simple advice to change certain things in the home to make the value higher. And to make it even easier for you, there are a number of companies, there are a number of partners we have that would front the money for you to upgrade your home, to make it look better, and you will pay for that at the end of escrow. But what that will do, you might be able to spend $30,000 or $40,000 on your home and increase the value by $150,000. And we want to make sure that option is available to you. And in order to do that, we need to talk ahead of time. That's number one thing. Number two is, if you're trying to buy the half of the home from your spouse, we want you to treat that as a complete purchase. Every home we have out in the market has some deferred revenue. If you just transfer the title from your name to your spouse's name, you're buying all the deferred maintenance that the house has. Let us work with you. We will bring the inspectors in. We will bring people we know to look at your home. Make sure that you don't have any hidden liabilities that you have to deal with. We can help you with that. We can help you with the insurance matters, that insurance claims that have been filed previously with the house. We will look at it, make sure all the repairs were done right. All of us collectively bring such a wealth of experience from real estate side, from the legal side, from the mortgage side, and from the financial planning side that you won't get anywhere else. And one of the things I like about Vesta and I like about this group, we all got into this because we genuinely care and we genuinely want to make a difference in your life. And that's what the testimonials you will get on the services we have provided for you guys. We all talk to each other. As Glenn said, I'm a CPA. I don't practice. I'm a real estate agent with that background. But when I see issues that are that I need to bring up to Glenn's attention or to Tommy's attention, things that are helpful to you, we will do that. We have a collaborative team that works together, and the idea is that we bring all the resources to you, and we will do anything in our power to make the entire process easier for you. Emphasis on easier. We know it's a difficult process, but you have a wealth of knowledge and a group of individuals that their sole purpose is to help you. And most of us don't even charge a consulting fee. We just talk to you to make sure we are the right fit for each other. Anyway, I'm available. Anytime you want to talk to me, if you're talking to Glenn or Tommy, they can reach out to me and I will be happy to answer any question you guys have. Thank you for joining us in today's session, and I'm going to hand it back to Glenn.
Thank you, Dar. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over a couple slides and then turn it back to Glenn as well. So how can a divorce team help you? So as you've heard today, legal. Most people understand that there is a legal aspect to the divorce process. So most people are aware of that part and know they need to find a lawyer. But again, to recap, not all attorneys are created equally. So make sure that you have an attorney that is a family law attorney that has a team to access them. Oh, I don't know why my slide shows up. I'm going back over that. Here we go. And so make sure your attorney understands the impact of all aspects of divorce. Divorce is highly emotional. So sometimes those emotions.
Hey, Patricia, you're not full screen, just so you know.
I'm not full screen.
No.
Am I now?
No, there's no, you're not sharing screen. You want me to bring mine back up? I have that slide.
Yeah, bring yours back
there,
up.
You're good now. Oh, you just had it.
Okay. I got it. So emotions.
There you go.
Divorce is a highly emotional process. Sometimes these emotions block sound decisions. So make sure you have a therapist or a coach on your team so you can process and make sound decisions. And financial. So in a divorce, the division of property is treated the same as dissolving a business. So the family law code, as it pertains to finances, mirrors the corporation's code as to dissolving a business. So having that right financial team in place is going to help you to achieve the best settlement for your situation. So I'm going to the next slide. So where can you find us? I put those links in the chat. Follow us on YouTube. This event is live on YouTube. Join us on Facebook. We have a really interactive Facebook group, Divorce and Separation Decisions OC. Facebook, you can follow our page, Irvine Vesta Hub, and follow us on Instagram. We're always trying to post content, and sometimes you can see us over there on Divorce Town USA. I'm going to stop my share and go ahead. I'm going to pull us off YouTube. I want to thank everybody for coming out, and then we're going to open it up for some questions and answers. So I'm going to give me a couple seconds, and I'm going to stop us on